Hey, you guys, I just wanted to get out in front of you and explain some of the changes that you're going to see starting August 15th when it comes to real estate in Louisiana. One of the major changes is really going to be focused on our buyers and them signing an agreement before you go in and tour a property. We're also going to see, I think, some shifts with our sellers, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But the biggest thing is that you are now going to have to sign a document, either in person, .loop, DocuSign, where you go into a relationship with one specific agent. And what it does is a few things. You're going to set an amount of time that you'd like to work with that agent. You'll talk to that agent about what you think is best for your time frame and timeline. And then it's going to get really to the meat and potatoes of what the buyer agreement is really about. Is I'm working with you as my real estate agent. How are you getting paid? Am I paying you? Is the seller paying you? How is this thing going to look like at closing? That's where we need to have more discussions and more transparency. And that's where this whole buyer agreement mandate came into play by the Department of Justice. They felt like consumers, buyers in particular, were not going to the closing table with enough information as to, wow, who's paying my agent? What are they making? Like, I don't even know. I'm just showing up at the closing table and they're getting a check. And I hope to God I didn't have to pay for it because I never had that conversation with them. So this is going to change. It's going to be a really good thing for our consumers. So this is where we're going to start having really unique conversations based on the buyer, based on the deal, based on the whole picture as to how a buyer's agent is getting paid, how the seller's agent is getting paid, and how we can negotiate a deal to help the buyer carry some of those costs moving forward. Okay, so on the seller side, what are some of the things that you might expect to change if you are going to be, selling your house in the next few days, next few months? Do I still have to pay my agent? Do I still have to pay a buyer's agent? That's some of the talk, some of the headlines that we've seen. And, I will say this, I think that, 80 to 90% of our transactions are still going to operate as they have in the past. I think that sellers are going to have more open conversations with their realtor about, okay, what is your fee? What are you going to do for me? Do I have to pay a buyer's agent? What are the pros and cons of that? So I'm hoping what you'll see is more conversation. Feel like the industry and the transaction itself is a lot more transparent. That's the goal. That's what we're trying to do here. And also, more reminders from your agent that fees are negotiable. They always have been, they always will be, and that is not going to change. So if you have any questions, any specific questions, I kind of just did an overview. If you're thinking of selling, if you're thinking of buying, and maybe this has raised a few questions, please feel free to text me, 985-400-9072. You can always respond to the newsletter, shoot me an email. I'm here for you. Happy to answer any questions, very open and honestly.